Join us for a review of the new updated Audi Q2. Let's go! In the front, the new Audi Q2 with this facelift has a flatter front grille, single frame, really wide for a rather small vehicle, the small crossover of small SUV. Then we also see here the new design style for the inside of the grille, here with the bright frame around. There are also different stylings available, also new styling in the lower bumper right there, so a little bit more modern this look. LED headlamps are now standard. Optional matrix LED, you can also see them right here. The length is at 4 meters 21, 13 foot 8 or 166 inches. That's 2 centimeters longer than before because of the new spoilers that are a little bit sportier even in the base version. Here we have the base 17-inch wheels, the smallest ones available. Therefore it looks a little bit more balloonish, but I think it already works. Visually wise, it's okay. But 19-inch is also optionally possible, so 17, 18, 19-inch, then you have a more menacing look, but of course also maybe some comfort losses, so this one here is best for comfort. As for suspension, you can either get a base suspension, it's also in here, then you get a fixed sport suspension, minus 10 millimeters, or the adaptive suspension. The adaptive suspension gives you the best comfort. In the rear, a typical hatch style here from this Volkswagen AG MQB platform, which the Audi Q2 is also based on. Modern tail lamp signature right here, and then with this facelift, get a new, more modern spoiler in the lower part, contrasting style. Of course, different styles depending on the trim available. Also with this more sporty graphic right here, but this is all closed, of course. As for exhaust, that's cool actually. No fake exhaust graphic, just this crossover look right here, and the real exhaust then underneath. So we see it also works without fake exhaust. And now the other end. Basically the high trim version, this here the S-Line, sportier design elements. Also the Edition 1 launch model here with black Audi rings, black frame around. Also with the biggest 19-inch wheels, the biggest one that are available. And also in the rear then with the sportier contrast graphic in black. Engines. This is the base engine, 1 liter 3-cylinder, front wheel drive only, 110 horsepower, so the base spec engine also for you here today to keep the price lower. Then there's the 1.5 liter 4-cylinder, 150 horsepower, or the 2 liter 4-cylinder, 190 horsepower, then also with all-wheel drive. And on the diesel side, the 2 liter TDI with 116 or 150 horsepower. You tap first to get inside, and these sport seats you really deliver you decent comfort. They are good also for tall people. 1 meters 86 or 6'1", enough headroom. There's also an optional panoramic roof available. But here the seating comfort is really good. You don't have the highest SUV type feeling. It's more like between SUV and crossover, but already feels more upright than in a normal small or compact size vehicle. So this rather here the compact segment. So I'm really happy with these seats. So you can also go for the sport seat form. By the way, also available with a microfiber share, for example. Interior overview with a rather classic styling, soft touch dashboard, and here more round vents again. Nice clicking sounds and so on. Audi badge right here. It's also an interesting structure, and once again all the buttons are so well processed. You have the acoustic feedback here, for example, for the drive select, which will have more more effect when you have the adaptive suspension, because then the suspension adapts to the drive modes. Then a classic AC unit right here. my favorite one, also with the clicking sounds once again, and so straightforward to use. The virtual cockpit here, crystal clear view, really cool. You can control what you want to see on the inside, for example, also part of the map, but then you're also flexible to switch the whole view like this to have the map all over the place. And you can also zoom in and out just with your left thumb. And details to the screen right here. You see here, this would be again more relevant when you have the S-tronic dual clutch transmission for the shifting characteristic, or also then for the adaptive suspension. And that main menu is actually quite easily done. GPS looks like this. To put in the address, for example, you can also write, for example, that wasn't B. So in this lower touchpad, that would be possible, or just take a look at the map directly, like this. Also with a nice satellite view. You can also deactivate it if you want to have a better overview for that. That would be possible. But again, straightforward, I think. Apple CarPlay integration works like this. There's no touch then here available. That is unusual for the Apple CarPlay then. However, you can still control it very well while driving, especially with this MMI knob. Let's see what about the legroom we have right here. It's not too long, this vehicle, but it exactly fits when I'm also driving here in the front. Again, 1.86 m or 6'1". And headroom wise, also, really fits quite well. You can even put a hand over my head. That's still possible. So it works for 4 tall adults. Of course, not abundance of space, but typical basically for the compact segment. Now to the trunk. We also have the manual trunk here today, but it's just fine. 405 liters up to 1050 liters. That's in the maximum setup. I already did the 2/3 split here, 2/3, 1/3. Underneath you have more space, for example, also for a replacement tire. And actually quite square dimensions. I can also put a backpack here inside. You can see also fits in just here in the upright way. Great progressive steering. The Audi Q2 comes standard with progressive steering. What does it mean? So you can keep your hands on the steering wheel all the time, especially when you have the automatic gearbox, so you don't have to grab around, because here slalom style is really good, really precise, no dead angle area, so everything is directly transported to the road. And yet at the same time, if you park in and out, you never have to turn it 3 times around. Progressive means that it also increases the feedback and is a really cool characteristic. It feels natural, but at the same time, it's just very comfortable to steer this car around. That's really cool. The base suspension is also just fine, especially in combination with the 17-inch wheels. So that's soft enough, and it is not then adaptive reacting to situations, but the car still remains upright, and it's also most comfortable then as for the base suspension setup with the 17-inch wheels. That's no problem. So you can also really go with this setup if you want to save some money, no problem at all. If you want bigger wheels, then you could go for the adaptive suspension. The adaptive suspension gives you a better variety between sportiness and comfort, and depending on the driving mode, and in general also gives you more comfort also in the base comfort mode. And then you could, for example, also go with 18-inch wheels without losing too much comfort. That works. Here again, see, don't have to turn the steering wheel that much when being in this roundabout. Getting out, once again, a sporty driving feeling, so it is somewhat fun also to drive this vehicle. And now, let's drop it behind a little bit, show you something of acceleration, 50 to 100, let's go. Plop, that's it. So you see, need to push it really. There's not much happening, so especially when you have these situations where you need to accelerate on the motorway, then you do lack some power with this small engine. So if you predominantly think about this vehicle as a city vehicle, getting from A to B to C to D inside the city, there's no problem. You can also go with a base spec engine. If you have more autobahn, more motorway share in that, then you should rather think about going for the bigger engine, at least the 1.5 TSI 4-cylinder. I think it's really, really comfortable. These sport seats here with the fabric surface are super comfortable. Michelle also agrees. And we have even sometimes better comfort here than we had in some very big premium luxury cars or so. So these seats are absolutely excellent. I can just stress it again. There again, blind spot monitor. And if you put the turning indicator, then it also flashes as an additional warning. So that's also well done. So now about 130 kilometers an hour, so like 80 miles an hour, and you still hear and feel it's reasonable silent in here. So for a compact segment vehicle, it's a good noise insulation. So also happy with that. And now to our conclusion for today with the updated Audi Q2. The facelift changes, of course not that large, but I mean, so to speak, why not? Some tweaks here and there. Of course, they don't change the car at all in a, wide scale. Then exterior, I think it's still one of the freshest Audi designs. So it's really a little bit different with this polygon style all over the place, more angular design lines and a lot of design lines. On the interior, we still see a solid build quality and also this rather old school design with the MMI knob, with classic climate dials, and well, we know new user interfaces that are really complicated, so I really appreciate to have a more classic user interface right here. Space-wise, on the interior, you get along very well. You can drive this car actually with 4 tall adults, and it's still one of the most reasonably priced Audis. Of course, not overall if you compare it to the competitors. This car here with some of the options we have here like 35,000 euros, but then the high spec one with automatic transmission and also the 19-inch wheels and so on, rather 50k. So of course big difference between that. So I'm really happy that we could show you like a lower spec car here today. This is totally fine, and if you go here with the 17-inch wheels, it doesn't look that striking. But then you can also go with the normal suspension and still have a decent riding comfort. If you go with bigger wheels, then you should probably go for the adaptive suspension to even out this comfort loss then for the better looks. Overall, a very well usable car, the smallest Audi SUV, very well to use in the city, but already with a nice comfort. Also great with the sports fabric seats here. They are a good choice, both in comfort and also the visual part. So, this car here especially served Audi to gain new customers which didn't have an Audi at all before. So half of the customers of the Audi Q2 never had an Audi before. So that was a big success for them. And here with the facelift, they surely continue it because small SUVs are still the surging segment worldwide still. The bigger one above that would be the Audi Q3. Has also been updated. You can check out that review on our channel as well as the Audi Q3 Sportback, for example. The Q3 rather than has a more SUV feeling already. This one here definitely between SUV and crossover, but you already have a little bit more comfort than the normal compact hatch. So, what do you think about our impressions for today? Tell us more about the Audi Q2 in your opinion. See you in the comment section and see you at our next review.